Well, greetings everyone, and welcome to another episode of Movie Goodness, where we examine life through cinema here on the KB Radio Network. I am your host, Kevin Reed, and welcome to the unofficial start of summer. Yeah, baby, it is summertime, in the great words of Fresh Prince, aka Will Smith, before he was slapping people. This is the unofficial start of summer. It's definitely the start of the summer movie season. Memorial Day has always been when we get all of our big blockbuster releases just starting to just roll out throughout the summer. I mean, just this weekend here, we have the release of Top Gun Maverick. In a couple of weeks, we have the release of Jurassic World Dominion. Then a couple of weeks after that, we have the release of Thor, Love and Thunder. And we have a couple of new releases in between there and after that. I mean, it's blockbuster season. And this is what summer movie season is all about. You get your blockbuster event popcorn films, and man, I'm all for it. I've been missing this for years. It feels like it's been about 5-6 years since we had a summer like this where it was nothing but blockbuster after blockbuster coming out. Potentially you may get some flops here. You have some movies that you may think gonna be $1 billion grossing film and it only grossed $15 million. it has happened, but not lately. But even if you look at Doctor Strange, right? Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness is making some money now. I think as of right now it has made over $700 million worldwide, which I would count as a big hit. But it's not what people expected. They really expected this to be $1 billion movie, which it still can reach. Unlikely, but I mean, it's still successful. I enjoyed it. But a lot of people aren't 100% on board with Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. I think that was more expectation led for that feeling. But I enjoyed it. But we're here, Memorial Day weekend, and I know it's a United States Day, and for all my listeners globally who probably don't have this holiday in their particular countries, it is a big weekend for the United States. Memorial Day is originally known as Decoration Day. It is a federal holiday in the United States for mourning the U.S. military personnel who have died while serving in the United States Armed Forces. It is observed on the last Monday of May. So every last Monday in May, booyah, is Memorial Day. And you know, many people visit cemeteries and memorials on Memorial Day to honor and mourn those who died while serving in the United States military. Many volunteers place American flags on the grave of military personnel at national cemeteries. Memorial Day is also considered an unofficial beginning of summer in the United States. I have a lot of respect for the military, even though I personally have never served in the military, never desired to join the military, but I have people who are close to me who have been or still currently are in the military. So I do have respect for those who will ultimately put their lives on the line rather, for this country. That just never was my gig, you know. That wasn't my drive, along with a lot of other people. So don't sit there like, oh yeah, you're un-American. Nah, stop it. If that was the truth, everybody would join the military. But you didn't. You know, a lot of people who harp on that, who have those American flags hanging from their houses and bumper stickers and whatnot. They're so patriotic. Never would consider joining the military. Let's not get it twisted here. That's not the truth. So that's just to put things in perspective. It really disdains. It really puts a stain on a lot of things when people say that. I can't stand that. Like a lot of people, I'm gonna go ahead and say it. Like a lot of people who hate Colin Kaepernick because they feel he quote unquote disrespected the military by kneeling before football games during the national anthem. Look, let's be honest. That's no more disrespectful than you sitting on the couch watching a football game during the national anthem. Because you're not going to make me believe that during a football game and you sitting at home watching football or watching baseball or watching whatever sporting event it is, and the national anthem comes on, you get up off your couch and put your head over your heart. No, you're either getting up, going to use the bathroom, or going to the kitchen, getting yourself another beer or some chips or whatever. Or just sitting there waiting like, oh, I wish they'd come on, start this game. Let's be real. Don't act like you're sitting there waiting on that. Oh man, oh boy, can't wait till they start the national anthem so I can get up and give my respects. You lie. You're a liar. And so, yeah, that's just my feelings on that. I just wanted to say that. But anyways, yeah, I still honor those. You know, like I said, got a lot of people close to me who was in the military. My brother served in the Marine Corps. My father-in-law served in the military. My uncle, I have two uncles actually who served in the military. One uncle of mine, he was in the Korean War, I believe. Could have been both. But I have a few. I have a few people who are close to me who were served in the military, family wise, and some that weren't in my family. One of my best friends in the world, who I've been best friends with since the 6th grade, and we still are besties to this day. Let's see. No, I'm not going to tell that story. But anyway, he's in the... I'm going to get in trouble. Get him in trouble. Yes, he's still in the military. He's been in the Marine Corps since we graduated high school. What, 25? Is this the 25th year? Oh my God, it's been 25 years. Lord have mercy. But anyways, yeah, folks, he's been in the military since we graduated. And he made a career of it. God bless him. It just wasn't in the cards for me. At one point, I considered it. I really did. I was at my wit's end. I had just got married, and I had zero career path. I had no job at the time. I had no actual skills. I had skills, but none that would get me paid. Well, let me take that back. It would get me paid, but I don't think it was legal. We'll just keep it at that. But anyways, I didn't know what to do. So just married, needed a job. I think, if I'm not mistaken, my wife was pregnant at the time with our first baby. first little baby girl, and I needed a job. I needed something. I needed a path, and I considered the military. And I said, okay, I'm not gonna go full bore into the military. I'll just do the reserves. I'll just do the reserves, where it's like a weekend a month. And I'm like, okay, I could do that. And a weekend a month, I'll join the military. Well, I went to one of those recruiting offices that was close by, and I decided, okay, let's do this. Went in, talked to the guy, told him, okay, I want to join. Do the reserves. I just want to do the reserves. I don't want to do the whole rigmarole. But he was still like, yeah, you still gotta go. You still have to go through basic training. You still have to go off for like, I think 2 months or 3 months or something to that effect to do basic training, and just like everybody else. And I'm like, this ain't for me. This ain't for me. And it's not because I was afraid of it, didn't want to go through all that. Well, I didn't want to go through it, but it was more or less because I'm newly married. I didn't want to leave my wife. I say newly married, but I'm pretty sure my wife was pregnant around that time, and I think we was a year in. But I could be wrong. But it doesn't matter. It's not important for this story. I didn't want to leave home for that long. So I said, nah. I'll do the weekend a month thing, but I didn't want to leave home for months. So I passed. I did a hard pass. And next thing I know, I was working at the job that I'm still at right now. And yay. Yay for me. So anyways, yeah, that's as close as I got to the military. I did take the ASVAB test in high school, and I scored pretty high. I actually scored high enough to go to the Air Force. And I don't know why I took that test then. I think I had to. I think it was required, if I'm not mistaken. And I took the test, and the recruiter came to the high school and talked to me. He was like, oh yeah, you scored real high. You can go to the Air Force, because it was like get a certain score, you go to the Army. I think the lowest score goes to the Army, and look, I'm not disrespecting. This is what they told me. The lowest score goes to the Army, and then it's Marines, then Navy, and Air Force. That's the levels. And so, but I scored high enough to go to the Air Force. I'm just pointing out how much of a genius that I am, how smart I am. Anyways, I wasn't interested at all then. I was a teenager. I was 17. I'm like, no, I'm not getting in the military. And around that time, my brother was in the Marines. He was already in the military. And I always remember, and I'll never forget, my brother had told my mom, broke the news to her that he was joining the Marines. He had just got out of high school. This was it was 89 he graduated. And he joined in 1990, I believe. And he's like, Mom, I'm going to the Marines. And my mom was furious, boy. She was she was not having that. And she was like, boy, what if you join and a war breaks out? Then what? And my brother turned to it like, Mom, ain't no war gonna break out. You're tripping. It's no war gonna break out. And he joined. And wouldn't you know, Desert Storm broke out maybe a year or two after. I think it was maybe a year. I think Desert Storm was 91? So yeah, it was like the next year. A war broke out, and wouldn't you know, he got shifted off to Saudi Arabia. So it was what my mom said was right. What if a war break out? And that always played in my mind. I'm not going. What if a war break out? And I came close to that when I almost joined in 2001, because that was when I almost joined and went to the reserves and all that. And wouldn't you know, the following year, that's when 9/11 happened, and then voila, you end up having the war in Iraq that lasted, still going on, huh? Or did it just end? I forgot. It's still going on. So I would have got wrapped up in that. So the moral of the story is, children, listen to your mother. So no, I did not know, but I respect all those who have. I respect all those who went to war. I respect all those men and women who perished defending this country. So yes, this is what the meaning of Memorial Day is, and this is what is truly meant to symbolize. It's not barbecues and cookouts and pool parties and whatnot, even though all that is exciting and fun. And if any one of my listeners are having a cookout or a pool party, don't forget to email the show, KB Radio Podcast, and let me know where it's going to be at so I can join you. But yes, that is the purpose of Memorial Day, to give honor to all those who perished defending this country. And while we're talking on military, what greater film to discuss on this weekend than probably one of the best, there's no probably in it, one of the best 80s action movies of all time. Not the best, don't get it twisted, because I fully acknowledge that Die Hard came out in 1988. So I'm not saying it's the best 1980s action film, but it's one of the best 1980s action films ever. And coincidentally, this weekend we're getting the sequel to the film that we're going to talk about. The release of Top Gun Maverick is this weekend. It is currently out at the time of this release of this episode. So why not talk about the film that started it all, the film that honestly has a special place in my heart, and that is the 1986 classic Top Gun, the film that launched Tom Cruise into super duper stardom. I mean, people, keep in mind, Tom Cruise, he was in some good little films up to this point. He was in Risky Business. He was in Taps. You know, he had a career prior to Top Gun. But Tom Cruise right now is probably the only movie star that is still in Hollywood. And I want to make that clear. Movie star. I'm not saying distinguished actor or film legend or stuff like that. Movie star. Movie star is like a blockbuster, bankable star. Every time he releases a film, it is box office. And that is Tom Cruise. Whatever Tom Cruise up to this point, you know, after Top Gun, was money. Tom Cruise was money after this, man. Everything he touched turned to gold. And it started with the 1986 film Top Gun. It is an American action drama film directed by the late great Tony Scott. Tony Scott has a filmography that is second to none. He is the brother of Ridley Scott, who we all know from directing Alien, Blade Runner, Gladiator. You know, the list goes on and on. He is probably one of the best filmmakers in Hollywood. And Tony Scott, his brother, has a resume that rivals his. I mean, along with Top Gun, he directed Beverly Hills Cop 2, Days of Thunder, The Last Boy Scout, True Romance. I mean, the list goes on and on. He is an awesome action director. Love all of his films. Man on Fire. Boy, I love almost every single one of Tony Scott's films. And it started here. This film is produced by Don Simpson and Jerry Bruckheimer in association with Paramount Pictures. The screenplay is written by Jim Cash and Jack Epps Jr. and it is inspired by an article entitled Top Guns, published in California Magazine 3 years prior to the film. This film stars, as I mentioned, Tom Cruise and Kelly McGillis. And it's those two had some awesome chemistry throughout this film, which makes you it makes you laugh when you realize that they couldn't stand each other. Probably still don't. They did not like each other throughout the filming of this movie, to the point they never spoke to each other afterwards. They did not like each other. When I read that, when I found that out, I was blown away, because they actually have some great chemistry in the film. But they didn't speak to each other until years after this film. I think like in 2013, maybe, when they saw each other at a film premiere. That was the first time they actually spoke to each other. But I don't think they're, going out to dinner with each other, despite that. But yeah, they had some great chemistry. I really bought their romance. I guess that's why they're called actors, because they had me fooled. Along with those two, the film also stars Val Kilmer, Anthony Edwards, and Tom Skerritt. Tom Cruise plays Lieutenant Pete Maverick Mitchell, a young naval officer aboard the aircraft carrier USS Enterprise. No, not Star Trek. But he and his RIO, Goose Broussard, portrayed in this film by Anthony Edwards, are given a chance to train at the U.S. Navy's Fighter Weapons School at Naval Academy, Naval Air Station in San Diego, California. I love this movie. I honestly love this movie. This movie had stages for me. It evolved from being all right when I first saw it back in the 80s to arguably one of my favorite films of all time. I'm not even joking. It is one of my favorite movies ever. Now, the reason it started off in stages, and it literally went through stages. I never disliked the movie. I always felt it was all right. And then it went from being all right to, man, this is good. It went from being good to like, man, this movie is great. And it went from being great to like, I can't get enough of this movie. And it's rare. That's a rarity for me. Either after I watch a movie maybe twice, or I'll give it a third just to be sure. And it never elevates. A movie, it's rare that a movie elevates. Either I like it, and it'll turn from like to dislike real quick. Like, it's not as good as I first remembered, or something to that effect. It's rare that I like, man, this movie was excellent, and from being horrible. But I never had that feeling with this. This movie holds up, and I guess that's why I love it so much. Now, you could take this movie and set it in 2022, which I assume that Top Gun Maverick is going to do, but you could take this movie and set it in 2022 and it holds up. Now, don't get me wrong, it is 80s in the effect of the music. once you hear Kenny Loggins, you know it's an 80s movie, and so it's 80s there. And then the obligatory volleyball scene, yeah, that's 80s. That is 80s all over it. But aside from that, this movie it holds up, man. I mean, it looks gorgeous. I'm pretty sure it was remastered. The last time I watched it, like 2 days ago, to get a refresher of it. It looks so gorgeous, man. It is directed beautifully. It is acted beautifully. The score, the cinematography, everything about it is great, and the practical effects. If you've been around this show long enough, you know that I'm big on practical, huge on practical in camera work. I was about to say something that was a complete lie. Because I was about to say I can't stand visual effects. That's a lie. I love visual effects. It has its place, but if you could do it practically, I'd rather see it practically. Let me give you an example. Take The Matrix, right? The Matrix from 1999. Love that movie. A lot of people, that is their favorite movie of all time and all this here. I love The Matrix. But if you watch The Matrix today, a lot of that movie is dated. A lot of the special effects are dated. Movie like Independence Day, special effects and some of that stuff is dated. The prequels, the Star Wars prequels, dated. those special effects, even though at the time it was cutting edge, it was ahead of its time. You watch those special effects, it looks like a cartoon. It doesn't look real. It doesn't look organic. But if you do it practically, it never fades. It never is outdated. The fighter jets in this movie, the aerial flights and battles in the sky is real. That's why it looks so authentic. It looks so good. Landing on actual aircraft carriers looks great. It looks real because it is real. Now, if you do that movie now, they'll use special effects, with the exception of Top Gun Maverick, which they didn't. They used real fighter jets and aircraft carriers and stuff of that nature. It was real. That's why I'm so excited for it. But that's why it holds up. I used the example of Independence Day. Independence Day had digital fighter jets with Will Smith and Harry Connick Jr. was in and stuff like that. You could tell it's fake. All that stuff you could tell is fake now. It looked good at the time, and you can accept it for what it is right now, but it looked fake. It truly does. But and it takes away from the movie when you see stuff like that. At least it does for me. A lot of people are unbothered by it, but it bothers me. But Top Gun, man, it's such a well made movie. You could tell this movie was made with love and care and attention. And this is a movie that was made for $15 million. It only cost $15 million to make this movie. It grossed $356 million worldwide. It's safe to say it was a hit. And it was a colossal hit. But critics at the time didn't like it. It was actually kind of mixed. But despite all that, despite the mixed reviews, it grew a cult following, so to speak, which is hard to say for a movie that made quadruple times its budget back. But the United States Library of Congress selected the film for preservation, for being historically and culturally significant. So, critics, you don't know nothing. y'all got it wrong on that one, which they normally do. But it's still, man, it is a beautifully made movie. The movie was nominated for an Academy Award for Best Original Song, which it won. So technically, Top Gun is an Academy Award winning film. It also won a Golden Globe for Best Original Song, "Take My Breath Away" by Berlin. No, it wasn't Danger Zone. I know a lot of people nah, it was "Take My Breath Away." God, I love this movie. It is so much of an impact that that this soundtrack went 9 times platinum. It's still one of the best selling soundtracks for a motion picture. And of course they had Kenny Loggins. Kenny Loggins was the soundtrack guru back then. You know, you could not make a movie in the 80s and have a soundtrack without Kenny Loggins in it. I mean, it was virtually impossible. So it was good to hear Kenny Loggins bolt out Danger Zone for this movie. But man, Top Gun, bro. I mean, what honestly can you say bad about Top Gun? As I mentioned, it made $356 million worldwide. It was the highest grossing movie of 1986. I stated about the chemistry between Tom Cruise and Kelly McGinnis and their actual hatred for each other. But one of the things that was kind of comical, Tom Cruise is my height, and if you don't know how tall I am, I'm 5'6", almost 7, and that is considered short. Even though I don't say that I'm a short person. I just feel that everybody else is freaks because they're taller than me. But Tom Cruise is 5'6" or 7, depending on who you ask. He's short, like me. Kelly McGinnis is 5'10", and I didn't know that. I didn't know she was that tall. Probably because I know Tom Cruise is vertically challenged like myself. So in the movie, he seems taller than her. Well, the reason for that is he had to wear cowboy boots with lifts in them. So when he had a scene with Kelly McGinnis, he had to wear those boots because the studio didn't like the fact that he was shorter than the actress. So he had to wear that in order to appear taller than her on screen. And she had to wear no shoes. And so she had to stand flat-footed when she was in a scene standing next to Tom Cruise. That probably added to the dislike. I don't know. But anyways, yeah, I thought that was funny. It really it hit home to me because I remember when me and my wife got married. At our wedding, my wife didn't wear heels. I ain't gonna say she wasn't allowed to because I never said anything. it didn't bother me. I'm not insecure like that. It didn't bother me that she would appear taller than me, because me and my wife are the same height. Depending on who you ask, namely her, she would say that she's probably an inch taller than me. But regardless, she didn't wear heels because I guess she felt it'll look too funny, her being 3 or 4 inches taller than me, standing up there. But it wouldn't have bothered me, honestly. I guess it probably would look funny. But whatever. But it does bother me because she had to wear like these flats under her dress to appear like we were the same height. But it's all good. It's all good. But I do feel bad. I feel bad that she had to kind of settle for the flats, not for me. Instead of wearing heels, which I think she really wanted to do. But I promise, when we were planning on renewing our vows for our 20th anniversary, which was 2 years ago, but the pandemic killed that. So I think we're going to do it for our 25th year anniversary, renew our vows. And if we do that, she can wear heels. I don't want her to, feel like she has to change her, her desires or plans or dreams or whatever. And I ain't saying that's a dream of hers to wear heels at a wedding, but I just felt bad because it felt like she was, I don't know the words. I don't know. I just feel bad. I'll just leave it at that. But anyways, yeah, I feel Tom Cruise pain that he had to wear cowboy boots. Maybe I'll do that. Maybe I'll wear some cowboy boots to kind of balance it out. There you go. Thank you, Tom Cruise. See, Tom Cruise is looking out for me. But yeah, that was a funny little story. Also, to add to the authentic look to the film, they used as I said before, real fighter jets and real aircraft carriers. They had to pay the Pentagon, talking about the production or the studio, had to pay the Pentagon $1.8 million to use all these jets and military equipment. So, I feel that's cool, man. That is, I mean, you had to do what you had to do to get the authentic feel. And hey, man, that was money well spent. That was money well spent. Also, to get an authentic feel for the film, Tom Cruise and Val Kilmer, they played rivals in the film. Val Kilmer played Iceman, who did not like Maverick. So, to keep that going, Tom Cruise stayed in character the whole film. Throughout the whole shoot. So, he was, kind of standoffish to Val Kilmer. He didn't speak to him. He didn't acknowledge him as Val. He acknowledged him as Iceman, to keep it on the level. I thought that was kind of funny. So he stayed in character throughout the film for that reason. And Val Kilmer already did not want to do the film, but he was forced to because he was contractually obligated to appear in the movie. But he later on stated that this was one of the highlights of his career, being in Top Gun. But he did not want to do the movie. But I guess later on he decided, yeah, that was a good decision, especially after it made $356 million. Matthew Modine, he was the original choice to play Maverick. Tom Cruise was not the first choice. Matthew Modine did, but he turned it down because he didn't want to do a war film or a political film, which I never saw this movie as a political film. It's really not. I don't know what he was looking at, unless a draft of the script that he read was different from the actual shooting script, because this was not a political film. But I think he later on went on to say that he regretted turning it down. I guess $356 million would do that to you. And then looking back on his career and Tom Cruise's career after this movie, I'm pretty sure he has regrets. But anyways, this is arguably, like I said before, one of the best 80s films, action films there were. And you can list them in any order you want. You know, when you think of 80s action films, 80s action films are cheesy. You know, most of them are cheesy and don't hold up. If you watch them now, you loved them back then, but now if you watch them, you're like, there's no way. There's no way. That is unbelievable. Nah, impossible. You know, you watch Commando now, and it's like, man, this is the silliest, dumbest movie ever. But you enjoyed it. You know what I'm saying? But certain movies like Die Hard, which came out in the 80s, holds up. Total Recall came out in the 80s. Or was it the 90s? I think it was the 80s. I could be wrong. I don't know. But it holds up. You know. But the fact that I'm struggling trying to remember what are the good 80s action movies, that tells you right now that Top Gun holds a special place. A movie like Iron Eagle that came out the same year about fighter jets and, you know, a young teenager revenging his father's kidnap or going to rescue his father. I can't remember Iron Eagle. It's been a while since I watched that. I gotta go back and watch that. But that came out the same year. And I kind of, at the time, and this is the mind frame that I was in around that time. Mind you, I was young. But I enjoyed Iron Eagle more than I enjoyed Top Gun. But as I got older, it separated itself. Top Gun was the better film. I mean, hands down, it's not even close. It's not even close. Top Gun. It is such a great film. When they announced the sequel, I was mad. Because this was like one of those untouchable films to me. This is one of those films that I felt like you just should not mess with. And especially it's been so long. It's been over 30 years. 35 to be exact. And I was like, man, leave it alone. Leave it alone. Then Tony Scott died. And I'm like, well, I mean, nobody else could do it. Nobody else could do it right. But from all I've seen, from all I've read the reviews, it seemed like it's up there. They done it justice, and in most cases, they even said that it was superior to this film. And I'm not gonna go that far. I'm not gonna get that excited about it. And but because that's a tall task. You're asking a lot here to say that it was better than this movie, because Top Gun gets a rating of an A+. I love this movie. It is a flawless film, and what impresses me so much, it truly does hold up. It truly is a classic. Everything about it is great. There's nothing about this movie is bad. Even the cheesy volleyball shirtless scene with the guys, it still holds up, man. It is a beautifully made movie. You never get bored. Even with the sappy love story going on, it's never too long. When it starts to get a little sappy, then you go into an action scene with the jets. When it seems like that is starting to get too far, you get drawn back down to reality. It's just a perfect balance, perfectly made, perfectly directed, A+ film. Can't wait for this sequel, Top Gun Maverick, for a sequel that I didn't even want. Now I am super excited for, especially after I watched Top Gun a couple of days ago. I was like, man, this deserves a sequel. Even though Top Gun ended perfectly. If they never made a sequel to Top Gun, that is perfectly fine, because it is a perfect movie. It ends perfectly. It even has a little tragedy in it and all this here, but it kind of wraps up perfectly. But at the same time, there are some things that you can build upon, and I believe this is what Top Gun Maverick is going to do. Of course, that's all speculative until I actually see the film this weekend, which I will review on Monday after the release. I will review Top Gun Maverick. But yes, man, Top Gun A+, without a doubt. This is not even I'm not speaking hyperbole. This is my real rating. It's perfect, man. I love Top Gun. I loved it. The score. I ain't even mentioned the score. Score is perfect. I still listen to it. To this day, it gets me hype. I know a lot of people got hype when this film was released, because I think they said enlistment, people joining the military. Lord, I can't speak. People joined the military after this film. It rose like 45% or something like that. Some stupid number. People joined the military after watching this movie. That's how much of an impact this movie made. And so, man, kudos to that. And hey, man, look, it is Memorial Day weekend. I hope everybody enjoys their weekend. I really do. I hope everybody gets together with family, with their loved ones, and enjoy each other. And I would be remiss, I would be doing a disservice if I don't mention, everybody, please keep the families of all the victims of these mass shootings that has been ravaging the country as of late, which is not new mass shootings, but this past couple of weeks has been like going crazy, man. Even to the point that the most recent one, at least at the time of this episode, you're probably gonna have one happen before that, but or after this, elementary school in Texas that 21 lives were lost, mainly children. Elementary school, we talking from 2nd to 4th grade kids that were murdered in the elementary school. Sad. I mean, it's heartbreaking. And I know I hate to end the show on a downer like that, but I had to address this. And I just want to say that these politicians who are walking around here defending guns, gun rights, and all this here, how can you defend the murder of children? I know you don't care about black lives. People have made that abundantly clear. That black lives don't matter to them. But, man, come on, these children, man. These children. And this ain't the first time. This ain't the first time children have been murdered in a school. Sandy Hook, Stonehand, I think it's Stonehand, High School, Douglas High School. I forgot the name of it. Forgive me, but it's ridiculous, man. The Columbine and all these other places. It's ridiculous that this has happened. You have just a couple of weeks ago in the grocery store in Buffalo, people in there shopping for groceries. Guy went in there hunting black people and killing them. It's ridiculous. In a church in California, man ran up in there shooting people in this church. You can't go to church. You can't go to the grocery store. You can't go to school without the threat of being shot. And we ain't even talking about the countless people who get shot in their homes, just sitting in their homes, for home invasions and stuff. You can't go nowhere. There's nowhere safe, man. And it's sad. And it's guns. Just regulate the guns. Nobody's saying, "Oh, you're not taking my guns away." What do you need? It's frustrating. Anyway, I didn't want to end the show on a downer, but I just had to talk about this, man. Keep these families in prayer. And I hear a lot of not here, but I see a lot of people posting on social media, "Oh, I'm tired of hearing about prayers. All that, we don't need prayers. We need this. We need that." Well, okay, well, that's fine. That's true. We do need that, but you still need prayers. And I don't care what your belief system is. You need prayers. Pray for these families who's going through this, man. I mean, you can't do nothing else for them. You can't give them their loved ones back. You can at least pray for comfort for these people. Everything else, we just got to do better and stop depending on politicians, because obviously politicians don't care. They don't care. If they're not benefiting from it, they don't care. And so we have to do what we got to do and do better. Number one, vote these politicians out of office because they're not doing their jobs. They're not doing what needs to be done. Anyways, that's a different show for another day. And trust me, we will discuss it on another episode. But right now, everybody, enjoy your Memorial Day weekend. Enjoy your barbecue. Enjoy your cookouts. Enjoy your parties. Enjoy Top Gun Maverick. Hey, enjoy Obi-Wan Kenobi, which is on what is it? Disney Plus. I'm thinking about another service. And don't forget, remember all the men and women who gave their lives in the military service this weekend, which is what is the whole point of this holiday. And don't forget to remember those who have lost their lives in all this senseless violence as well, because they deserve a memorial as well. So everybody, what are you looking for? What you doing this weekend? You're cooking out, you're having a party, you're having a get together, or are you going to the movies to check out Top Gun Maverick like me? Actually, I might do all of the above, to be honest with you. And if you are having a cookout, like I said earlier, let me know by emailing the show at the KB Radio Podcast at gmail.com. You can also look us up on social media, whether it's Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, or YouTube. Just look up KB Radio Network. If you're listening to us on iTunes, Apple Podcasts, or Spotify, don't forget about leaving those stars and those ratings. It helps the show out tremendously. Also, if you're listening to us on all the other listening platforms that I don't have time to list because we're on all of them, don't forget to share and follow the show. Let everybody know that you're listening to the KB Radio Network. Everybody, enjoy your weekend. Enjoy your holiday. Don't forget that I love you. And most importantly, Love one another. That's the only way we're going to get through all of this depressing news that is happening. Love one another, everybody. And until we speak again, you all be blessed. Talk to me, Goose.